is currently in some trouble yet again. This time, it's going back to the basics. These damn referees.
You agree that the Chicago Sky season has been somewhat crazy? To be honest, though, nothing could have prepared supporters for the full circle that transpired.
Supporters, let's talk about Tyler Marsh and the Chicago Sky. Good God. They lost this game to the Connecticut Sun. Seriously, I mean, the battle of crap teams. And the Sun come out on top. But the real story from all of this is yet another black eye on Kathy Engelbert. And
additionally, Coach Tyler Marsh completely lost it on the WNBA refs during the Connecticut Sun game. Marsh simply lost it after yet another extremely filthy play in which Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark were roughed up without a whistle. Everyone is talking about the referee's complete collapse under the circumstances. The crucial question is whether he was justified in going off in that manner, or if he went too far.
And early in the possession, you see Tyler Marsh, he also did not know why that was called a foul, and he reacted.
What do you think, then? Should Tyler Marsh have tried to remain composed instead of losing his temper with the referees, or was his outburst completely justified?
We got a player in this game, it looked like Aaliyah Edwards, that absolutely mugged. I mean, committed a crime on the court, really and truly, against one of the Chicago players. And Tyler Marsh, much to his credit, looking right at you, Stephanie White, he appropriately lost his shit.
All right, so this goes beyond a single poor call, correct? This relates to weeks and weeks of WNBA officiating that are completely awful. Every game is a beating for certain celebrities, like Caitlin Clark. It truly seems as though the referees have a unique set of rules exclusively for her. First of all, don't call fouls when Clark is struck. Step 2. When she breaths too forcefully close to an opponent, call for something extremely mild. Step 3 is to turn your head away if someone tries to pull her arm out of its socket. All year long, fans have been yelling about this. And now, even coaches are losing their composure. The play that triggered Marsh. Imagine this. Cutting into the lane is Caitlin Clark. Near the wing, Sophie Cunningham is pacing. Then all of a sudden, arms are around the neck. In football, body checks would undoubtedly be reported. As Sophie is being pushed around like she's in a WWE match, Clark strikes the deck. What do the referees do, too? They only observe while keeping their hands on their hips. It's as if they believed they were only movie props rather than real referees at a professional basketball game. At that point, Marsh loses it. His body language was a clear indication. He is crouching down trying to coach one moment, and then he is standing up as if he had just been ejected from a cannon. Through the TV screen, you could undoubtedly smell the Gatorade on his breath as he yells at the referee as he storms onto the court. This wasn't your usual, hey refer, that was a foul moment. No, this was the unadulterated fury of a coach who had had enough. He appeared as though he was prepared to enter the WWE himself. And who could really blame him? The kicker is this, though. The referee's vision suddenly became flawless. Isn't that amusing? They were unable to witness Caitlin Clark being pulled across the floor. They were unable to witness Sophie Cunningham being pushed into the stanchion, but as soon as Tyler Marsh took an irate step toward them, their eyes instantly functioned perfectly. They suddenly become extremely vigilant, pointing fingers, blowing whistles, and dispensing technicals like party gifts. The oldest trick in the book is this one. Punish the response while ignoring the actual offense. To be honest, this has been the WNBA's biggest issue during the entire season. These famous athletes are being heavily promoted. Despite Clark, Boston, Reese, and Stewart, the refereeing appears to be appropriate for a junior high scrimmage. Supporters are not stupid. The discrepancy is visible to them. The double standard is clearly visible to them. Additionally, every missed call gets global in 10 seconds or less because to social media. Bad officiating can no longer be concealed. All you can do is reveal it. Tyler Marsh therefore saw this as more than a single game. A complete season of disres was the subject of this. The Chicago roster has suffered. Every evening, They're fighting to get into the playoff picture. Referees going numb whenever their players get thrashed is the last thing they need. Marsh at last uttered the words that supporters had been demanding all year. He wasn't calm when he said it. He didn't mutter. He blew up. Coaches are expected to maintain composure, but let's face it. Sometimes the only way to communicate is to go insane. Let's now discuss the real attack. And no, the word isn't being used carelessly, because it is not defensive to put your arm over someone's neck on a basketball court. That isn't physical behavior. If that occurred outside the arena, you could actually be arrested for it. The referees, however, detected nothing amiss. All season long, Caitlin Clark has had to put up with this kind of behavior. Officials shrugged while players body-checked her, yanked her, and spoke trash. Rough play is also nothing new to Sophie Cunningham. But really, there are two things: basketball in the real world, and whatever this was. Marsh was fully aware of the message. He made sure everyone watching knew this wasn't acceptable by blowing up, charging out there, and almost getting ejected if the referees weren't going to protect his players. The crowd adored it, the cameras captured it, and social media went wild. Fans are sick of watching the same foolishness every week, which is why videos of Marsh snapping went viral. Oh, and the WNBA front office will most likely track him down. They always act in that manner. A press announcement about upholding professionalism is a tiny slap on the wrist. In the meantime, Clark and Cunningham will return to the floor for the upcoming game and get thrashed mercilessly. Because, isn't that the cycle? Coaches complain, the league discovers that the referees missed calls, and nothing genuinely changes. Rinse and repeat. However, this is where the fun begins. On the referees, Tyler Marsh didn't just lose it. Additionally, he revealed how seriously flawed the WNBA's officiating system is. You have a big issue when players, coaches, and spectators all agree that the referees are bad. You have an even greater issue when your product is meant to be expanding and attracting all these new viewers due to Caitlin Clark's fame, and those new viewers witness her getting fouled repeatedly without receiving any calls. If the game is totally ruined by the officiating, growth is meaningless. And pay attention, Clark has evolved from a rookie. It is the second year. She is already among the league's most well-liked players. Her jersey is being worn by children. ESPN is airing her games on Prime, and arenas are selling out when she's in town. She is still regarded as though she is the last player to come off the bench, though. It goes beyond poor officiating. It's really awful business. Marsh is aware of it. The supporters are aware of it. The media is aware of it. The WNBA officials and the league off are the only ones acting as though nothing is wrong. However, each meltdown like this one only makes it more difficult to ignore. Marsh didn't simply lose his temper. He gave the entire officiating circus a lot of attention. Let's continue where we left off, then. Tyler Marsh has lost. One game, one foul, or even a single moment wasn't all that important. Caitlin Clark, in particular, was treated like a practice dummy as the refs performed their best Ray Charles impersonation, which was a season-long tendency for the Chicago Sky. Furthermore, forget about Sophie Cunningham being included in the mix. And that was the decisive moment. Now, let's just explain why this is such a contentious topic for supporters who might not watch every Fever or Sky game. Isn't Caitlin Clark the most hyped player in WNBA history when she first joined the league? Before she even set foot on a professional basketball floor, she sold out arenas. She made the Indiana Fever games a must-watch television event instead of just background noise. With all that momentum, what did the league do? They blatantly allowed the referees to use her as a punching bag. She has dealt with elbows, forearms, body checks, and more. Additionally, Sophie is a sly player who already has a reputation for being aggressive, pushing back, and not avoiding physical contact. You can tell that things are very bad when she gets the bad end of a harsh no call. Because it's not basketball if Caitlin Clark is sprawled out like she was hit by a bus and Sophie Cunningham is out here looking like she just was tackled in the NFL and there's no whistle. That is blatantly incompetent. Marsh was aware of everything. He was aware that his teammates weren't merely losing. They were treated with disdain. His meltdown felt different because of this. He wasn't merely defending one. He was advocating on behalf of a league that wants all the publicity that Caitlin Clark's celebrity brings, but none of the accountability that comes with truly defending her. And that's when the sarcasm really comes into play. Because, as Commissioner Kathy Angelbert continues to preach, if the WNBA is serious about expanding the game, perhaps the first step should be to ensure that the officials don't appear to have been dragged out of the audience at halftime. Step 2. Perhaps ensure that your biggest star isn't shut down without a whistle 3 times a night. No, just a thought. The league's approach appears to be to let her get hit and then track down the coaches when they voice their displeasure. Wonderful. Simply brilliant. This is precisely how you do it if you want to chase away supporters more quickly than the referees dash to the locker room at the conclusion of a game. Marsh wasn't subtle about it either. He didn't simply enter the courtroom and say, "Pardon me, Mr. Reference. Would you mind occasionally blowing your whistle?" "No," he yelled. He appeared to be truly on the verge of blowing up. He appeared to be the perfect representation of every WNBA supporter who has ever had to watch a game where blatant infractions are completely disregarded. Fans adored him because he was the human equivalent of a viral Twitter topic. All over the place were clips of Marsh charging the refs. "Finally, someone's calling this crap out," several commented, while others clapped and laughed. That's the problem. Even when impartial media outlets declare, "Yeah, that was definitely a foul," and when fans and social media agree with a coach, it's not just a coach who is out of control. The truth is simply leaking out in real time. Remember that Clark has previously been at the center of controversy with the referees. She has missed egregious fouls. Without making a call, she was pushed to the ground. As if it were open season, she has been slapped across the face. Furthermore, the highlight reels of Clark being fouled without a whistle are likely longer than her real game highlights at this time. That's how horrible things have really gotten. It wasn't shocking at all when Marsh finally blew up. It was unavoidable. Frustration can only be suppressed for so long before erupting. In this instance, it burst just in front of the referee. The league administration will likely attempt to spin this now, don't they? They will claim that Marsh went too far. They will impose a fine on him. They will make a public relations statement expressing respect for the officials, but they will not deal with the underlying issue. There are irregularities in the refereeing. It's blatantly embarrassing and unprofessional. Coaches will continue to lose their temper, players will continue to get injuries, and supporters will continue to point out the unfair treatment until that changes. And since you can bet your bottom dollar that the referees will remember this, let's take a moment to discuss the ramifications. They always do. Marsh will receive a bad behavior lab tag, and all of a sudden, Chicago will have to deal with even more foolishness, hasty whistles, and technicalities. The trivial reality of officiating sports. They dislike having their presence noticed. Marsh also didn't simply appear. He exposed their ineptitude in front of the basketball community as a whole. In a strange way, though, that's what makes this so crucial, because there are instances when you need someone to take a chance on a fine, a negative label, or backlash just to state what everyone already knows. That person was Marsh. And based on the response from fans, the majority believe he was completely right. This is the most important query, though. How much longer can the league ignore it? How long can they continue to defend the referees when players receive needless punishment? Someone will eventually suffer severe injuries as a result of a no-call. And the referees won't be the only ones at fault when that occurs. They will be empowered by the league. Marsh certainly lost his temper, but he also won a great deal of respect. Additionally, he brought attention to a problem that isn't going away anytime soon. That concludes the story. Tyler Marsh's loss of self-control wasn't an isolated outburst. The message was unambiguous. Bad referees have worn out the fans. Players are fed up with being called foul. Coaches are increasingly fed up with silence. Once more, what are your thoughts? Did Marsh go too far, or was he
in true
justified?
Caitlin fashion,